Tell us a story, Dandelion." It was a fine May evening of the spring following the defeat of General Woundwort and the Ephrathans on Watership Down. Hazel and several of his veterans, those who had been with him ever since leaving Sandalford, were lying on the warm turf full of grass and comfortably relaxed. Nearby, Cahar was pecking among the low tussocks, not so much feeding as using up the day's remains of his continual restless energy. The rabbits had been chatting together, recalling some of their great adventures of the previous year, how they had left the Sandalford warren after Fiver's warning of imminent disaster, how they had first come to Watership Down and dug their new warren, only to realise that there was not a single doe among them. Hazel had recalled the ill-judged raid on Nuthanger Farm, in which he had nearly lost his life. This had reminded several of them of their journey to the great river, and Bigwig had told yet again of the time he had spent in Ephrathah as a supposed officer of General Woundwort, and how he had persuaded Hyzenthley to form the group of does who had broken out in the thunderstorm. Blackberry had tried, but could not explain his trick with the boat, which had enabled them to escape down the river. Bigwig, however, had refused to tell of his underground fight with General Woundwort, insisting that he wanted only to forget it. So instead, Dandelion had recounted how the nut-hanger dog, let loose by Hazel, had pursued him and Blackberry into the midst of the Ephrathans gathered on the down. He had hardly finished when there arose the well-worn cry, "Tell us a story, Dandelion! Tell us a story!" Dandelion did not respond immediately, seemingly reflecting as he nibbled the grass and took a few hops to a sunnier patch before settling himself again. At length he replied, "I think I'll tell you a new story this evening, one that you've never heard before. It's about one of the greatest of all the adventures of El-ahrairah." He paused, sitting up and rubbing his front paws over his nose. No one hurried the master storyteller, who appeared, by taking his time, to be rather relishing his standing among the group. A light breeze stirred the grass, and a lark, ending its song, dropped down near them, paused for a time, and then began another ascent. "There was a time," said Dandelion, "long ago, when rabbits had no sense of smell. They lived as they do now, but to have no sense of smell was a terrible disadvantage. Half the pleasure of a summer morning was lost to them, and they couldn't pick out their food in the grass until they actually bit into it. Worst of all, they couldn't smell their enemies coming, and this meant that many rabbits fell victim to stoats and foxes.